back to the Overwatch World Cup. We have had a day full of action, but we've got one more match for you, and we promise it's going to be a good one. We have South Korea versus Sweden, and down on the floor, Golden Boy is one of our Sweden players, iddqd.
We're here again, my friend. Hello. How are you doing? This is going to be a very challenging matchup for you, Sweden versus South Korea, one that a lot of the analysts and casters had predicted we'd see. So going into this matchup, what are some of your thoughts in regards to how South Korea plays? And I mean, have you guys done your homework?
Definitely. South Korea does something that other teams don't do very well, and that's just they're super coordinated. They barely do any mistakes, and it all comes down to shutting down Miro and then shutting down their Arhan player.
So, you know, in the middle of the break, I actually had a chance to talk to the crowd here, and there are a lot of fans of Sweden in the house, which is pretty cool. Definitely unexpected, at least for me, right? I mean, this place was like uproaring for the USA, but it's good to see everyone behind you guys. How does it feel going into this matchup, knowing that these people are going to be rooting for you?
Absolutely amazing. It's been an unbelievable crowd. You guys have been keeping it up, and you're keeping us pumped and hyped for all the games. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. So one final thing. I mean, you know, you have some targets on that squad. Most notably, I want to dive into Miro. This guy, he is absolutely incredible, a force on that South Korea roster. What have you guys been thinking about? Like, is a player like Miro one of the guys you need to shut down, or is there someone else that maybe, you know, none of us are catching?
I think the Arhan player doesn't get enough praise. He's extremely good, very talented, and he seems to get kills, even though he shouldn't be. He's a player to look out for and someone we aim to shut down completely, him and Miro.
All right. Well, my friend, best of luck in your matchup. Looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be a good one. Guys, give it up for iddqd of Sweden as he gets ready for his matchup against South Korea. Rachel, over to you.
I'm still busy giving it up for iddqd. He's done such an incredible job this tournament, but he's got such a hill to climb with South Korea.
But I've heard they've been playing South Korea in their scrims, and I see a little twinkle in that man's eye. There's definitely got to be a reason. They definitely have had the game plan for the South Korean team.
Well, that's typically how you beat the other teams. You know, they want to find out, what does South Korea do apart from the other teams? You know, how do we beat South Korea? But hearing him say they need to shut down Miro and they need to shut down the Arhan player, I don't agree with this at all. They need to shut down the DPS here. You can't shut down Miro. He's a god on
Miro's
instant.
plan.
Didn't you
Miro
guys just
wants
do
you to
that
try
like
and
a
shut
week
him down.
ago?
You can't shut down Miro.
So I've been picking iddqd's brain over the course of the weekend. Compared to other teams, Sweden definitely has the least fear of South Korea. They definitely respect them. But remember, going in, we thought it was going to be Sweden versus South Korea in the finals. It was a crazy upset by Spain that put them on the other side of the bracket. But really, Sweden is still one of the powerhouses of this tournament. And if anyone is going to take out South Korea, it very well could be Sweden.
Well, South Korea is a fearsome team, and there's a lot of good reasons for that, aside from the fact that they've got 5 incredible pro players and TaiRong, who is an amazing coach, keeping them all on track. I mean, each one of them brings so much to the table skill-wise.
It's like I'm just waiting for them to like get like a game where it looks like reasonably close, and like you'd think this would be it, but I still don't know. They've just been so dominant all tournament long.
And the key thing for the South Korean team is control. They play controlling compositions probably better than anyone else, and they're incredibly good at defense where they will use Winston, they will use Mei, they will put you in the places where they can engage on you and take really favorable fights and burn all the time off your attack.
I will give credit though to the United States of America because I think they brought it to him. If you skip Anubis and look at ikenvalde, they had the right idea. You know, they were playing Genji Tracer. You know, this is how you shut down South Korea. You want to be aggressive. You want to be the Winston. You know, jumping on Esca. You want to jump on Arhan. You know, you can't give these players space because they're just going to kill you. So I think United States had a good idea of how to shut down South Korea, and I really hope Sweden watch that game and do the same.
All right, well, let's take a look at Sweden's roster one more time and see how we think they're going to stack up against this team. This South Korea-Sweden match is one that we've been thinking about since the very beginning of this exhibition, and now we're finally going to get to see it.
And I think the wild card for me here is when you bring up those aggressive compositions. It's like Tviq can play a very good Genji, and then you could get iddqd on Tracer, and then that becomes a formidable combination.
And here's the key, too, is that the South Korean team is very, very smart about going after the weak links on a team. Unfortunately for them, Sweden does not have a weak link. They have so many strong players in every position, and there's no all-star DPS player that you can just isolate to try and make your job a little bit easier.
I agree with you, CP. They have no weak link on this lineup, but their team chemistry has been weak. I don't think they have the coordination either. I think they play too passive, and I've been saying this over and over again. I think, okay, iddqd, he played amazing versus China, but he's not going to get that space that he got versus China. They're going to be all over him and shut him down, so I think they need to change things up. Okay, iddqd,
We're looking
he's
at you
not playing the
like,
kill guys.
okay.
I can see what you're trying to do. You say they need more aggression. They need a Reinhardt who's just going to charge aimlessly into the opponents.
Yes.
No hammer.
I'm sorry, Cocco,
no
you're not cutting it. Let me step into the ring. I'm here.
Well, good to know. I mean, Cocco is in full health despite your attempts to give them food poisoning, I think, earlier on in the week with Team Sweden.
Jonathan's been trying to get on every team here.
I just want to play video games. Overwatch is a fun game, guys.
Well, now we have to watch Reinforce's home team of Sweden go against Reinforce's adopted team of South Korea in this final matchup today. And it looks like our casters and our teams are ready, so let's get things started.
Oh, we are so ready. Doan Monte Cristo here. You guys ready for the last match of the day? It's going to be Sweden versus South Korea. And yeah, we've been looking forward to this one for a long time, but we thought it was going to be the finals. Here we have it in the semifinals.
Yeah, it's the way the
It's only
brackets
best
worked
of
out.
three.
It's the way
Ah.
the brackets worked out, man,
Kills me.
unfortunately. If they
It's gonna
had
be a good
lost
one,
to
though.
Spain, wouldn't have happened this way. Could have been the final match.
Thanks a lot,
But
Spain.
we'll see how Russia does. They just put on a very dominating performance, so we should still be good for a nice final. And we are going to be starting on Route 66.
That's right. Route 66 going into Aichenwald and then Lijiang Tower. And you know, if you're the South Korean team, you got to be pretty happy about Aichenwald. That is a map that they've really made a name for themselves on in this tournament so far.
Yeah, the thing about Korea, though, is that we have seen them very dominant on assault maps, and we're not going to get an assault map. It'll be a payload, an escort map into a hybrid map. So a little bit different stuff here from them, but worth noting that many of these members are from Lunatic High, and Lunatic High did do very well on Route 66 back in APAC against Rogue. So this is a map that is a specialty of some of these Korean players.
Yeah, I was just about to say, for South Korea, this map in particular, we've seen some good stuff from them on. I mean, the players they have put together, the aggressive style they play, you know, the Genji, the Winston, all that works really well on Route 66 on offense, but they're going to be doing it on the defense right now. Arhan switching over to the main this time around. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Typically, Esca has been the Mei player, but if they have to run both the McCree and the Mei, which has been one of the more powerful compositions, it is very well balanced, particularly for defense. You get the McCree for the long-range shots on the potential far-up pickup, which we have seen Tviq play in the last match from Sweden, although that was on King's Row. And now we have the Mei as well, just to control the payload and to make sure that they can wipe with the Blizzard.
So why would they name the gorge after the gang? Welcome to that just tells you they're there. I wouldn't go through there. I don't want to get robbed by the Deadlock gang.
So, Doa, usually the way that gangs are named is that the geography is named first, and then the gangs name themselves after the geography.
I think that's just incorrect. I'm sorry. I don't believe you for a second.
I hate to tell you that, Doa.
That doesn't sound right to me.
Okay. I think you're assuming a timeline which doesn't exist, but that's fine.
Well, what else? South Korea on the defense, Sweden on the offense, and we will see what these guys can do. It really could go either way. iddqd sneaking around the corner with the 6-shooter.
Now, pushing it forward for now, the McCree Reaper composition. Otherwise, we're looking at pretty much mirrors here. We haven't seen that Winston. And Tviq actually going to go back and swap out to the Genji immediately. So getting off that Reaper. I think they were expecting the potential for the Winston to come out once they don't see that.
I mean, you never know with South Korea if you're going to run into a Bastion as well. So
yeah,
might as well take a look at what they've got and then change things. iddqd running away from Esca there on that Mei. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Arhan. Actually, doesn't matter. iddqd takes him out. Oh, he gets the headshot in the end as he dies. Well, that's a good start for iddqd. Meanwhile, though, Tviq firing away at Miro on that Reinhardt now. I don't even know if he knows he's behind him at the moment. Either way, a decent start for Sweden as that payload keeps rolling.
Yeah, it does keep on moving, and there's the Dragon Blade picked up over time, and that's going to be the death of the Korean supports as he slashes his way through TaiRong at the end. So great first push here. Zunba, the one left over. And now we see Arhan back, coming towards the point. Has to use that ice block early, though, to absorb some of the damage.
That's going to work out really well. Ice block, ice wall rather, trying to block off something. As Esca just does what he can to try to stay up on that McCree, but no, goes down.
Yeah, chipshajen manages to find Esca, and iddqd is in a great position on the high ground, just raining shots in, and this has been a very dominant push from Sweden so far.
I gotta say, man, yeah, Sweden just rolling through point A here. Korea trying to set up a desperate defense, but I don't know if it's gonna work out. They've got the Blizzard, though, from Arhan coming in. We'll see if they can put anything together out of it. Couple kills come in, ryujehong grabs one. There's the sound barrier as well, and Arhan on that Mei, looking for Tviq, can't quite land the right click, and he gets around the corner, but Chips is in trouble. Ice block comes in, iddqd lands a flashbang, and Arhan has to back away. They still get the kill in the end. Esca picks up 2, and for once, South Korea starts to actually stabilize here.
Yeah, they do. They've got some good ults to utilize, and we've got the sound barrier coming in alongside the Deadeye. So a little bit of a wait here, but South Korea still have a lot of crowd control with the Earth Shatter and the Zarya ultimate available. So just holding back right now.
That's right. And so we will see if Sweden can continue this push. Esca on the outside, firing through the side.
Oh, whoa.
And did he actually just take Chips out?
Yeah, underneath the sign right there, hit the last shot, and that's a huge takedown.
Wow. And well, there goes iddqd as well. So South Korea starting to put together quite the defense now. And it was all Sweden a moment ago, man. What happened?
Well, they hit the first pick onto chipshajen. There was immediately a 6v5. They decided to punish and catch everybody else out from Sweden who was coming around the flank with the help of the Graviton Surge. And now they're resetting the defense. South Korea has some good defensive ults to work with. Sweden, though, they are about right now going to have the Nano Boost available for Tviq's Dragon Blade.
Yeah, we'll see if they can find the fight that they're looking for. Tviq comes down, he's got the Dragon Blade now, goes after ryujehong, takes him out, looks pretty good for Sweden so far, looking for a bit more, finds TaiRong. And Zunba finds himself a bit on his own here. It looks like Sweden may finally claim point A. They certainly will. They'll grab it. Great start for Sweden.
Yeah, no sound barrier, no Earth Shatter available for South Korea right there, so they didn't have the best tools to shut down the Dragon Blade. Great engage, and they are going to push it through into the first point now, going through streets, looking for point number 2. So he's going to back off for the moment, try and charge up some more of those ults. Tviq gets a nice dash in, but gets caught out in the top of the saloon, and actually, iddqd goes down somewhere in the back line.
Well, South Korea trying to find a little bit more of a defense. It looks like ryujehong is getting a little bit better anger now as he chases Zunba out once again. ryujehong looking for a little bit more.
Yeah,
and as Zebbosai goes down, it looks like once again Sweden will have to kind of reassemble this offense.
I mean, this is what iddqd was talking about when we talk about ryujehong. His accuracy on the Ana, his ability to pick up kills and lay down damage is almost unparalleled on this hero.
Yeah.
And he is able just to get these long-range pickoffs on a support character that really disrupt the enemy's ability to fight.
That's right. And Miro staying barely up on that Reinhardt. Sound barrier comes in as Sweden tries to assault South Korea. ryujehong looping around the back, finds a sleeping iddqd, and you cannot sleep around ryujehong, man. Well, he's usually the one who puts you to sleep, but then he puts you to sleep permanently, as we're seeing. chipshajen coming back on his own Ana play, looking pretty good for Sweden as they try to push the payload back again. And Esca on the run now, as it looks like Sweden's got a good push going.
Yeah, ryujehong actually went a little bit too deep there, right there, Doa, and that's going to actually cause his entire team to pay for it. He did not see Zebbosai Zarya coming around the side, so picked off as he tried to play more aggressively, and that's going to move the payload up quite a bit for Sweden as they punish. They also have 6 ultimates to work with, so Sweden, they're going to be rolling for a few more minutes. They got 15 seconds left before overtime, but they have the tools to make it to point 3.
Wow. That really worked. Earth Shatter comes in, gets blocked though, and now South Korea trying to fight back. Cocco charges in. Does he catch anyone? He's chasing him down the hallway. I don't think he got anyone though. And the kills come in for Sweden. They've got a good chance to take point B here. It looks like they may have it here in overtime, and they do. A little bit more time on the clock here, and South Korea is really got to put together a staunch defense now, but this is a tough point to push, isn't it?
It is a tough point to push, Doa, but they have only a minute and 20 seconds, so Sweden really reeling. They had to use 6 ultimates on that approach, and Arhan is going to negate one of these pushes just by throwing his Blizzard on top of the payload.
Yeah, should be able to. There it is now, yep, and as South Korea advances forward, a lot of members from Sweden getting taken out, and that is going to be a solid hold, like we kind of expected here, but There's a little bit of time left. There's 53 seconds, and they're going to chase. Yeah, getting iddqd and chipshajen at the end. Big split spawn. That is a huge problem for Sweden.
Absolutely. So they chained that near wipe into picking up a couple more kills on the backside of it. Check this out. Nice wall straight into the Blizzard. Nothing that Sweden can do. They didn't expect to win this fight. They didn't have really much to work with right there, but they couldn't even get charged because of how fast they died on their ult meters.
South Korea defending again as Sweden comes back in. The May wall, they've got to contend with it. Tviq looking for something over on the Genji now. Charge comes in. Miro takes out iddqd, kills on both sides, but it's looking pretty good for South Korea. Tviq tries to escape. 99 health. Just time to spray, you know. Barely escaped.
Hide there.
Oh man, I almost died there.
Time for some graffiti.
I better paint on this rock. Yeah, I may die in a second. I might as well leave my mark. There we go. Dragon Blade coming in now. Ice block from Arhan as he tries to stay up. He's got the Blizzard, I believe. There's Reflect. Tviq, nano boost on Esca as he gets 3 already. Sweden in trouble. There's another one. Esca and Arhan, man. The DPS for South Korea doing work, and they will hold here on the 3rd point of Route 66. So 2 for Sweden, not bad at all.
Yeah, right there at the very end, Tviq couldn't quite get in front of Esca during the Deadeye with the Reflect, so positioning just slightly off. That means that Esca gets a clear line of sight on the 3 members of Team Sweden, and they do push it out of overtime. So still a pretty solid push for Sweden, especially that first little push that they had ended up going quite successfully, but slowed down deep into point number 2, and they couldn't move it too far into the garage for point number 3.
That's right, and Esca, of course, man, what a game on McCree, looking pretty good there with 17 limbs, 6 deaths, and a lot of good stats. There's Miro, of course. Such an unassuming young man, but yet a terrifying giant space ape as well.
Yeah, and right here, the Genji runs up in his face, but dodges to the side, even though he had the Reflect up, and he gets cleaned up as well, thanks to the flashbang. So, kind of a misplay there by Tviq, honestly, who had an opportunity, I think, to deny more than he did. The Zarya shield was on him.
Yeah, maybe.
And he had that Reflect up, so a little bit of an error, but likely even if he had been able to get that kill, it would have been very difficult for Sweden to push it all the way to point 3 in overtime.
That's right, and don't forget to vote for your MVP, guys. Tweet their battle tag with the hashtag T-Mobile MVP. And once again, with these 2 teams, we know we've got a tight race, man. There's a lot of potential MVPs out of these squads.
Absolutely. So Korea right now showing the Winston for Miro. So looking for some big backline threat, changing it up, trying to get on top of Big Earls and the high ground early on. And
you know, if Big Earl was smart, he would put like a little cafe on top of the roof of his auto center, because that's where everybody likes to hang out, man. He could really make some money if he did that.
I think if Big Earl was smart, he wouldn't build a gas station when like fire strikes are being thrown around in his gorge. But
you just got to take the opportunities as they come, man.
It can ruin your business pretty quickly to have your gas station go up in a giant explosion.
We'll have a Big Earl fundraiser later. We'll take care of Big Earl, don't worry about it. South Korea coming in on the offense now. Miro, of course, on that Winston once again. Arhan on the Genji. And here comes Esca, looking so sick on defense last round. And they're going to be sneaky about this. Okay, except for Arhan, he's not.
Taking it slowly. Now, Tviq is on the Roadhog this game, so looking to get some pickoffs as best as they can, especially combined with the flashbang. But the Zarya shield, you're actually doing a good job of just zoning them out to the top of Big Earls right there.
Yeah.
And that combined with the Reflect is causing quite a few problems. Tviq having to dodge back behind the sign.
There was a good biotic grenade that got thrown up there by chipshajen, but they haven't been able to capitalize on it too much. Cocco goes deep here, gets low, and he's in trouble. There's a kill for Esca. And Zunba picks one up right before that as well. The defense for Sweden starting to collapse a little bit here.
Well, iddqd going to get 1, but knocked out immediately thereafter. Yeah. And you know what? That's just the coordination that we see from Korea. We couldn't get the best angle on it, but if we look at the way Miro plays and the way that Miro and Zunba play together, it's constantly keeping track of the cooldowns for the jump pack usage as well as the Zarya shield. So he was creating a huge amount of zoning space, and eventually Zebbosai just got whittled down over time. Cocco has to take a very desperate last-second charge, which doesn't actually pick up the kill, and they're sort of rolled up one by one by one. Sweden on the defense.
Sweden's got a couple ultimates coming here pretty soon. Earthshatter's going to be up. Tviq should have his whole hog in the near future. Zev's getting pretty close on the sound barrier. So we'll see what they can do. There comes the Graviton Surge, and Arhan pulls out the Dragon Blade. Sweden is in big trouble. Uh-oh. And that is going to be a wipe. Oh, well, nice try. You got to do it. Oh, there we go. Nice reflect at the end. Tviq trying to pull Arhan off the ledge with him, but yeah, that's a full team kill, isn't it?
That absolutely is, Doa, and Zave did not use his sound barrier there, so I'm not sure if that was an intentional decision as we get up to some more ultimates here, and they want to make a stronger hold closer to their spawn by point number 2, but they've got to do it now.
Sound barrier comes in, South Korea trying to push ahead here. Earthshatter goes down, and Sweden getting split a little bit here. South Korea staying on the payload. ryujehong gets one on his Ana Nemesis, chips high end, and now the kills coming in on both sides. Cocco still alive and well for the moment, but Miro comes down behind him, knocks him back, and there goes Cocco. South Korea pushes to a pretty smooth point B, and now Sweden's got to be sweating a little bit, man. This is looking kind of grim.
And Zave didn't get the sound barrier off again because Miro picked him off on the high ground at the very start of that fight.
Yeah.
So they've got 4 minutes and 24 seconds to push this a tiny bit into the garage. Their spawn point is very close to the payload, and this is going to be have to be a hell of a hold from Sweden.
Miro's got that primal rage too, and it's not hard to stop him. Well, I guess if you put him to sleep and then, you know, do that. That stops him, but normally it's hard to stop him.
But he didn't have to ult, and we did see the sound barrier go out on that time, the third fight in which Zave has had it. But the ult's still up for some from South Korea. They're moving towards having 5 within the next 30 seconds or so, and that's going to make it very difficult for Sweden.
So they could. Zebbosai comes down. There's a Graviton Surge coming in for Sweden. Don't get a ton for it. Esca grabs one on iddqd, going crazy on this McCree again. Gotta worry about that Zarya shield. Finally gets taken down by Zebbosai. Cocco still sitting on the payload as looks like ryujehong kind of on his own with the Ana, but Zunba coming back in. He has a nano boost on his Zarya, takes out Cocco, and they are getting so close. Is this going to be it? Is this the game for South Korea? Looks like it is, and South Korea takes Route 66. It was a close one, but South Korea definitely looking a bit better there, didn't they?
They had so much time there at the end, though. Yeah. They had 4 minutes and 24 seconds just to nudge it into the garage. So it's just a matter of getting their ult economy on track and not over-committing to those pushes. Right. Build up that big ult bank and then just slam it all down. That's just good shot calling, good use of their resources right at the end, not overcommitting early and just being patient, knowing that they had so much time to work with.
I think my favorite part of that map was watching South Korea pick apart Sweden's defense on top of Big Earls at the beginning.
Yes,
they were really so good, so methodical, and that's what makes this team truly terrifying. But it will be the first map for South Korea. There it is, 1.
Yeah, it's the synergy between Korea's tanks and supports that they just can keep Miro alive and being annoying and in your face forever. Yeah. And everybody's on the same page when it comes to even the basic ability cooldowns and when he's going to be jumping in and when he's going to be jumping out. And they're able just to push forward very methodically using that pressure and the zoning potential of a Winston. And that's one of the reasons why we think about Miro as being one of, if not the best Winston player in Overwatch.
Yeah, and you pair that with one of the best Ana players in ryujehong, and you have somebody else who's a little bit overlooked sometimes. ryujehong, of course, a great support, but also a substantial offensive threat too. We've seen him get a lot of kills. You know, we heard iddqd himself saying, this guy's getting kills I don't think he's supposed to be able to get. Well, he gets them anyway, and that's a big part, again, you know, what keeps South Korea going.
I think ryujehong does go into melee Ana mode a bit too much sometimes. It did cost his team on that map a little bit foolhardy, but I mean, you can't argue with it too much. They did take the map in fairly commanding fashion, and Sweden's going to have to adjust here as we head into Aichenwald for map number 2.
That's right. You know, as we've been watching South Korea play last week and this week as we move into our second map of this best-of-3 semifinal here, one thing that stood out to me is that TaiRong on Lucio does tend to get out of position sometimes. We see him caught on his own fairly frequently, especially on this map, on the second point. So if I were Sweden right now and I was watching the VODs from the earlier matches today and last week, I'd really be looking to pick off TaiRong on the outside and then take the 6v5.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. And it will be South Korea on offense here to start out on Aichenwald. Sweden going to be fielding very standard 2-2-2 composition, nothing too strange. And going back to having that short-range damage with the Reaper as well as the McCree for a little bit more long-range pick-off potential.
Yeah. All right.
Got pretty much all their bases covered. Good crowd control and ability to deal with tanks like the Winston again or a Roadhog.
Yep.
The Reaper. And then We don't really see South Korea playing that much Pharah or other long-range heroes, but if they do, that's going to be there. And Korea are on switching over to, nope, going to be Genji. I had hoped for the Tracer. I do like Tracer given the numerous points of attack here on Aishenbald point A, but not going to be the case.
I think if they were going to do that, they'd run Genji and Tracer like we've seen them run in past maps. So that's gone that May. Arhan just going to stick to his well-known Genji and just get that ult building as much as he can on the outside. Gets hit by chipshajen on that Ana right away, and he's going to have to wait a little bit to get some health back.
And Sweden played pretty far back, actually, towards the point right now. Normally, you'd see a contest closer to the actual arch.
Yeah, I think they're just a little bit worried about Miro's Winston and the Genji as well, but
they just let him walk around the side of the point, though, and they lost Zebbosai.
Yeah, Miro already getting a kill, gets a bit low in the process, but that's a 6v5 now as South Korea kind of backs onto the point of it. Now chasing down iddqd. They are so good at dividing and conquering the enemy team, just like that. Take out a tank, separate a support, and now South Korea is all over point A.
But Sweden let them have so much ground right there. They were just backing very slowly off the arch, and then Korea just rushes around the side, gets a flank, and manages to pick off Zebbosai on the side. So
yeah,
it's just, I know Reinforced's been talking about this a lot on the desk, but they just don't play very aggressively, and they'll sort of just sit there and twiddle their thumbs a lot of the time and let you just step by step encroach on their territory instead of fighting for it.
Not twiddling their thumbs, man. We're playing this on PC. Twiddling their fingers.
Twiddling their index fingers?
That's right. All right. Ryujehong gets a little bit low, gets hit with that biotic grenade, but keeps the rest of his team up as they push through. Cocco on the low ground there, trying to stop this payload from moving too far. We will see. Blizzard comes in from South Korea, though, as they try to take out iddqd. They will. And now the Dragon Blade comes out for Arhan. Sweden in a little bit of trouble as Zebbosai gets pushed back. Arhan chasing away. Cocco has to run past the point, gets the pin onto TaiRong, though. Zunba, though, takes out Zave, and now Zunba taking out his opposing Zarya, and that's going to about do it for the team fight. And South Korea will get a lot of time pushing this payload.
And they were very ready. Sweden tried to get the drop down there with a nano boosted McCree, but he was sleep darted into a May Blizzard immediately, so picked off as fast as they could. Again, a 6v5 situation that Korea's able to capitalize on by countering the attack with a nice Dragon Blade.
Well, Miro back up on the high ground, has to watch out, and that's why iddqd finds a headshot. Now Arhan looking for a bit of revenge, but Zunba comes in with that Graviton Surge. Picks up two, jumps down to the low ground. Oh, but he gets hit with the Earth Shatter. Saved by the May wall, though. He was elevated out of danger from the charge. And Tviq, looking to pick up at least something here, manages to help take out Arhan. Zebbosai there as well, and it looks like Sweden might be able to hold for now, but here comes the Blizzard. And looks like the rest of South Korea's back.
Yeah, it looked like a big commitment there to actually use the Blizzard, but because Miro was already bouncing back towards the cart with the Winston, they're able to keep it rolling, at least for the moment. Nope, Winston's gone.
Yep, iddqd walks forward with that Deadeye, looks for one. Zunba blocks it with the Zarya shield, blocks a couple bullets with his head, but at least he comes, oh, he fell off!
Yeah, he resets.
Oh, Zave actually got the boot by Ben.
Yeah.
And Cocco trying to find Arhan. Arhan backing away. He's a slippery ninja, but he's going to dive down and walk back up the wall. He's going to be okay.
He's playing with the space here in the Genji wall climb and double jump, and eventually they're going to be able to grind Sweden down. It looks like the cart has been inching forward
they've got
little
that
by little
now.
over the bridge, creeping towards the door for the battering ram to do work on.
I think that's it. I don't think Sweden can get back here and defend this. It would be way too risky, and sure enough, they will set up inside the castle. Yeah, better to do that than lose a team fight at the door and then have to worry about losing even more on the third point.
I'm surprised. Korea dumped a lot of ults into that, and had it gone wrong, it looked like for a minute there they were just walking in one by one.
Yeah.
And getting a little bit over-aggressive.
Oh, here comes Miro.
Miro's going to go in again.
There's a Blizzard, and he's going to go Primal Rage, looking for some of the supports. Goes after chipshajen there, who's getting juggled through the air. Oh, man. I think that Ana spent more time in the air than her daughter does on Pharah. Jeez.
Yeah, well, you have the Primal Rage and just zoning him out of the fight. Didn't have the line of sight or even the ult charge to actually put down the nano boost. So not the most consequential elimination, but the cart just keeps on going, though. The backline has been disrupted so thoroughly by Miro so far in this series.
Yeah, Sweden has like one more defense here, but Arhan's trying to cut it to ribbons. Gets hit with the Earth Shatter, though. He's in trouble. Arhan goes down. Cocco and Tviq making the difference, and now iddqd coming in, looking for shots, and that is going to be enough to defend for Sweden. A dangerous moment as South Korea threw out the nano boost, I believe there. Yeah.
Yeah, onto Arhan, but Arhan did not actually commit to the Dragon Blade. He was slate darted too fast, so they held on to that one. But Sweden with a nano boost still on their side has a lot of opportunities. 3 minutes still for South Korea for a lot of time, but
yeah,
it's going to be a minute before they can defend this one. We may see the boost here. Yep. So we saw that last match before.
Yeah, Graviton Surge comes in, and there's a Dragon Blade for Arhan, looking for the same play they used against the US earlier, and it's working so far. Nano boost though onto Cocco as Sweden tries to fight back here. Cocco in the back lines, and now Zunba shields himself. The payload starting to move. Maywall's blocking the entire corridor. Arhan rather crawling over and finding the kill on chipshajen. Looks like South Korea's got this team fight. We'll see how long Tviq can delay things on that Mei. There's a Blizzard. They're going after the spawns already. Graviton Surge comes in on top of the payload, but South Korea will keep pushing as soon as this Blizzard is done. Lucio doesn't do a whole lot of damage anymore anyway.
Yeah, they're going to get one pickup on Zunba right there, but there we have the nano boost coming in onto the Reinhardt.
Oh, it's Dragon Blade time again. Arhan is ready, and there he's going to pull it out. Going after Zebbosai. Can he get the kill? He gets it. Now finds chipshajen. That's two. He's getting the resets. He goes back in. The rest of his team, though, trying to catch up. Zave goes down, and South Korea might be able to finish her right here if they can stop the respawns from getting to the point. There's a Maywall. Might be a little bit early. Can Cocco get there in time? He does, just barely. There's the Earthshatter coming in. Sweden, though, needs to win this team fight. Reverse Earthshatter comes in from Cocco, and he's got the nano boost now. Going after Miro. Looks for the kill. He gets it. Sweden holding for the moment. Esca, though, got the kill on chipshajen, but it looks like South Korea's going to have to back off for now. So close, 1.47 meters away from that third point.
Yeah, and this is where it gets so difficult, pushing it over the line in Aichenwald, unless you have a huge ultimate advantage.
Yeah.
Very, very hard. Arhan actually going to switch over to the Reaper for a little bit more up close and personal combat right now. Extremely long fight. You can see they're just grinding it out as they move forward towards the card.
I mean, it's smarter to try to use so much time. The Blizzard comes in now. Miro frozen. Where's the follow-up? He gets the Zarya shield, so he will stay up for the moment. There's a sound barrier now for Sweden, rather, or South Korea. I don't know what's going on. South Korea is coming in, and they're getting the kills, and it looks like this might be what they need. And yeah, with that Blizzard, they'll be able to finish Aichenwald. That's 3 points for South Korea. Tough for Sweden to match.
Yeah, very tough. At the end of that, they managed to just get enough of those crowd control ultimates. The Maywall actually boosted the Reinhardt up, which allowed Miro just to hop over the top and get a good position for an Earth Shatter, which that crowd control chained into several more kills at the end and gave them the necessary positioning to get the last Blizzard on. No chance really for Sweden to defend, but they held on fairly well in this map, and they've got to complete it now, and that can be tough on Aichenwald. It is basically very snowbally between points 2 and 3 oftentimes.
Yeah. Well, Sweden has got a mountain to climb in front of them right now. I mean, that third point on Aichenwald is tough. And we talk in the past sometimes when you push the payload far enough, you don't even necessarily need to take that third point to make it tough enough for your opponents to not be able to match that. You just need to get it almost there. Well, South Korea actually got that point. They actually got all 3. And as we take a look at this replay, Miro comes in with the Skyhook Earth Shatter, and there's a Blizzard right away. And there was just not a lot Sweden can do. I don't think they expected the Reinhardt to be right there at that time.
He also got boosted up by the Maywall, so
exactly.
Yeah, it got the positioning. A little bit unfortunate for Sweden, but that's the way it's going to roll. No Symmetra for South Korea this time. TaiRong on the Lucio.
It's, you know, it's just because Sweden's not playing Genji. Remember the Symmetra is only a Genji counter. That's what TaiRong told us, so that's why, yeah.
Well,
of course.
He did just fall off the map, so I'm wondering if he actually is resetting to Symmetra. No, just having a little bit of fun.
He just fell off the map. Okay, well, thanks, coach. There you go. Zunba on the Zarya, as always. And no Bastion for Arhan right now, sticking with the Mei. So I think we're finally starting to see South Korea put their serious playing pants on, and they're going to really try hard this one.
Yeah, Tviq going to come in on the Hanzo right here. So a lot of long-range poke damage between the Hanzo and the McCree, able to take down some Reinhardt shields fairly quickly. No cheese positioning from South Korea this time, so Jehong's not going to instantly die.
That's right. They're going to try to hold the bridge area here. And if they can defend this entryway, they'll be doing pretty well. But I do like the Hanzo pickup. That is something that can cause a lot of problems. And whoa, actually they knocked Miro up on the wall there. Esca looking for a kill. Zave goes down. There goes iddqd. Zunba coming up big on this Zarya. Man, ends up taking out himself in the end, but that's a nice hold for South Korea to start things off with.
And that's the difference in positioning that we were talking about, where you can be closer, because in the last time we saw this defense, Sweden just sort of backed off that archway. Korea backed off, waited for half the team to rush through, then just jammed themselves between the two halves of the Swedish team composition and pushed to the far flank through the archway, picking off people. So they're playing this much more aggressively on the map, and that position and choke points makes a huge difference.
Arhan trying to find a kill on Tviq. Tviq does take down Esca, but Arhan manages to chase him off the high ground. Cocco comes in for the pin on the Miro, and now Arhan in a bit of trouble. He's going to pop the ice block, but he is surrounded right now. Wait for it. Oh, he missed. Oh, he's got the Zarya shield. He may live here. I hope I didn't cast or curse him right there, but no, he's still going for the moment anyway. Getting a little bit low now, and yeah, there the kill finally comes in. Zebbosai claiming that one. And now Tviq edging closer to the point, has to watch out for Esca, lands a nice shot there. Oh, but the, okay, well, if the scatter arrow doesn't hit, the single arrow does just fine. And finally, Sweden able to get that payload going maybe. Tviq getting a lot of time on, turns around for the kill on the Miro. No charge for you. And Sweden will get this payload moving.
The best part about this for Sweden, Dola, is that because they got the initial pickoff, thanks to Tviq's Hanzo, is that now they have the Hanzo ult and the Zarya ult, which is basically a guaranteed push as long as you don't mess up the positioning of the Zarya ultimate.
Yeah.
Because you can, for free, take down 3 people, even through a Reinhardt shield, as many as are grouped up. So we'll see how South Korea plays against this. They need to stay split up and hope that basically Sweden misplays.
They generally will on this point, from what we've seen from South Korea in the past, but we'll probably see them drop the Blizzard down there. Yep, there it is, South Korea dropping the Blizzard, trying to jump down onto Sweden. Esca comes down, gets the kill on the Zave. Arhan has to back away, for the moment anyway. Gets flashbang, but he's going to be okay. No, never mind. I cast or curse him. I'm sorry.
You're doing
sorry,
that to
man.
everybody, though.
I got to stop saying people will be okay. They're never okay.
It's never okay.
It's okay for South Korea at the moment, though, because they were able to slow down the payload a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but again, pretty big ult commitment right there. And now we have Sweden just building up a giant ult economy, and here we go.
All right, well, there it is. They're going to go ahead and use the Dragon Strike on this, trying to take a Zunba, but I believe the sound barrier came in time. Yeah, TaiRong with good timing on that ultimate. They don't get anybody with that crucial combo. The payload keeps bumping, though, so we will see if Sweden can do it. Meanwhile, Miro pops the Primal Rage, takes out Tviq, goes after a few other members. Esca taking out Zave in the back lines as well, and Miro escapes the fight, comes back down again. Escapes the fight, comes back down again. Okay, yep, and finally takes out iddqd. There you go, Miro in a nutshell, guys. But South Korea holds the payload yet again.
Yeah, Tviq on the Genji having to back off. Still a long way away from that Dragon Blade, but yes, those 2 ultimates just completely nullified by the Zarya barrier and the sound barrier, as well as just a one-person, one-hero ultimate there, so not even good in the first place. Yeah. That's actually a big loss, and Sweden, that's why they adjusted over to the Genji afterwards, is the Hanzo is just not going to do much. You need a little bit more quick mobility on this multi-level point 2.
It's definitely better for this point. Arhan gets a bit low, gets the heal zone, he'll be okay behind that Winston shield for the moment. Backing away. Oh, that was dangerous. I said he was going to be okay, didn't I? I got to be careful with that. I didn't ask for these powers, Monte Cristo.
Well, at least you can affect the outcomes of matches. I'm sure pro players everywhere
I don't want to do that. Esca has the Deadeye ready to go. Sweden's pushing this pretty far. Esca gets the Deadeye, comes in, looks for a couple. Oh, iddqd takes him down, though, before he can get the kills. South Korea, though, trying to clean it up with the rest of the members, and it looks like they will be able to. Arhan getting a couple on that Genji. And Sweden having to back away again. Tviq down to just a few health. Manages to get healed up, manages to live, but South Korea keeps holding, and only about 2 minutes left now for Sweden.
I think I just heard Miro accidentally ult right there, because he's back at 0%, so it's a bit awkward on the other side.
I think you're right.
So after he was over and safe, that may have been a bit of a misplay from the Korean team. Sweden with a huge ultimate advantage. They need to be able to make this push work. Yeah. They have the nano boost onto the Dragon Blade.
Well, the support for South Korea might be in trouble here as Tviq goes in with that Dragon Blade. He gets handled, though, Cocco by Zunba. And meanwhile, Arhan takes out 3. ryujehong says, I want one too, and takes down Zebbosai. And Sweden just can't seem to get any progress going here.
Well, Arhan got in the face of the enemy supports before chipshajen could actually pop that nano boost. So Tviq was left up on the top side. Zunba had some amazing tracking to actually deal with him during that Dragon Blade, but successfully 1v1 the Genji. Didn't have the nano boost there to help him out.
Yeah. Here we go again. chipshajen has that nano boost, but he's got to run away. Miro all over him. He's going to nano boost the Reinhardt just in case. Earthshatter comes in. They take out Esca. Yeah, now he grabs Miro. Nice kill. Cocco really going off now on this Reinhardt. Had that sound barrier for a moment, and South Korea loses a couple, and Sweden going to be able to get a good push going.
Yeah, finally with an ult advantage, they're able to press it. They successfully deal with the ulting McCree during the nano boost just by using a great Earthshatter. That's the CC they needed, but they're coming back in now.
That's right. Oh, goodbye, Cocco. Zebbosai takes him down there in the end, but ryujehong picks up 2, and Sweden holds. Only 20 seconds left now for Sweden. And this is it, man. I mean, they need to keep this going or their tournament is over.
Zebbosai has to switch to Winston. They don't have any ults. They are not even close to having any ults. Arhan is about to hit that the Dragon's Blade, and this is desperate for Sweden.
That's right. It is do or die time. 1 second left. Can they even get to the payload? They can't. And South Korea will take the match 2-0. They are going to the finals against Russia.
That's right, Doa. We have a best of 7 tomorrow between South Korea and Russia to see who will take the first Overwatch World Cup here. Should be very exciting, and we'll see what Shadowburn and crew can do against ryujehong and the rest of Korea.
Yeah, well, I mean, a great show match, a great exhibition match for Sweden throughout last week and this week. A lot of great play from those guys, but in the end, South Korea holding strong, going to the finals. TaiRong, you know, no Symmetra? I guess maybe we'll see in the finals. We can cross our fingers, right? But while we let these guys celebrate, let's send it back to the desk to break down that match.
Thank you so much, Doa. Thank you, Monty. Now, that was not the close match that we thought it was going to be. That was really impressive by South Korea, and Sweden, I think, had more trouble than they were anticipating themselves.
Tviq tried. Tviq tried.
He certainly did.
He did. I mean, his Genji play was spectacular. I do have to say, like, it felt like the only time Sweden actually could do something to pressure South Korea. It was when Tviq was on the Genji and had the ultimates up, and he created space for iddqd to do something. But I'm disappointed, I have to say.
It's what shocked me out of Sweden was just the lack of aggression. Like, I felt like that's what they needed to beat Korea, and we thought that they were going to come in and do it because they had played them a lot, but we didn't see that.
And one thing South Korea does really well, whether it be on attack, when they're on attack, what they do is that they draw out fights, they wait for reinforcements to come in. They never really gave Sweden any moment where Sweden had a super clean team wipe and pushed Korea all the way back. They extended fights there. Same goes for the defense, where you take a look at the South Korean defense, they kept staggering, they bent, they didn't break, and it was just so difficult for Sweden to get any form of solid momentum.
Absolutely. South Korea was picking our Swedish players off left and right, or under the sign, as it were, on Route 66. It was insane how well they controlled the fight.
Yeah, we can take a look on the replay here from Route 66. I do want to highlight, I think that Sweden did the same mistake that we saw when they tried to shut down Russia, which Finland did. They tried to shut down Genji too much. So we can start the replay here, and we can going to see that pretty much Sweden, they're just going to stand on top of big Earls here, and they're not going to do much. They're waiting for Arhan to engage, which is just bouncing on the payload at the moment on the Genji. And this is what we see from Sweden. They're just letting the payload push, and suddenly those 2 fights you have on the first point on Route 66 turns into 1 fight. Now Cocco does a charge because he realizes that you need to contest the payload, but he just goes down because there's no assist. And basically Sweden is just falling apart because they're trying to counter Arhan, but Arhan realizes that, okay, they're trying to shut me down, and there's so much space for South Korea to just do what they want.
Arhan and Esca in the first half. So Arhan in the first half on Route 66 was 26-4, Esca 17-6, iddqd 13-9, Tviq 9-5. That tells you all you need to know about the first half.
It was a case where, even though there are multiple threats on the Sweden team, it was about engagement. It was how South Korea always took fights on their terms and went from there. And also just, you take a look at the coordination of the course of the fight. There were very few moments where South Korea actually wasted ultimates compared to Sweden, where we saw Earth Shadows get used for basically no reason as the fight was being lost. We saw ultimates sort of thrown away. And I think it's the case where the South Korean team plays so well and so coordinated that they make a otherwise great team like Sweden make mistakes.
Yeah, when we talk about how South Korea extends the fight, I actually have a a replay from their winning scene. So we can jump right into it and play this. It's Zunba actually coming from behind, and you'll see once he gets fully charged up, this is when South Korea realizes they're like, hey, that's only one kill. The Earth Shatter doesn't get anything. 99, you see Esca pick up 2, and then this is where they go for the kill shot. They know they have the reinforcements, and this fight, if you remember correctly, lasted for maybe 20, 30 seconds before here, and this is where South Korea won it because they're so good at timing when to use those ultimates towards the end of fights to extend them to let their teammates get back.
Absolutely, and you contrast it to play you see out of North America and EU historically, where you saw a lot of the time the fights would be over very quickly, where one team would go in, people would die immediately, and that'd be it. South Korea doesn't go for the really quick fights. I mean, sometimes they do have that, but a lot of times they're very content to grind it out over 20 to 30 seconds and see how it plays out.
Yeah, and they're very good at it, as we just saw. I think we should have seen more swaps coming out from Sweden. They expected this. I'm disappointed we saw iddqd pretty much only play on that McCree. And as I said, it was the plan to shut down the Genji, but at what point do you ask yourself, like, we have to change things up?
Well, why not try the Tracer? I mean, you saw what Team USA did. They had success when Tailspin was playing Tracer against the South Korean team. I mean, granted, USA didn't win, but the games were close. iddqd is a fantastic Tracer. Why not at least try that?
I think they could have tried at least something, and the key thing about heroes like Tracer 2 is that South Korea is very good about predicting how engagements will go, and that's how they get their great initiations, but a Tracer that's engaging from random angles and whatnot, that can throw that way off.
I would have liked to see Mei more here, actually. We saw Tviq, he pretty much changed up to whatever was needed. He played Mei, he played Hanzo, he played Genji, he played Reaper. I think if we saw more Mei Reaper, if we saw maybe something to help out Tviq when he was on his Hanzo, I think it could have been a much better show for Sweden.
And Tviq finishes off Eichenwald playing Mei, but at the beginning of Eichenwald, they had no Mei, no Hog at the beginning on defense, and they just let South Korea just walk right in.
And that's a very good point that you bring up, because you take a look at the hallmarks of the South Korean defense, they really value control. A Winston that's in your face, a Mei that's controlling your movement. Sweden opened the door and said, come right in, and they weren't able to recover as a result.
And I think this is a demonstration of what's lacking here in Sweden. I think Tviq, he wanted to go Mei, but he realized we needed a Reaper as well, and I think iddqd should have switched up.
Well, and one of the names I keep seeing on there, and I just want to give a shout out to ryujehong, the Ana for South Korea. Incredible how many kills he was getting throughout this match.
Well, the biggest standout for the play for him is when he's actually walled off on Eichenwald at the end, able to stay alive, and then Miro just comes in, able to heal him through that, and that's when Korea broke in and pushed the payload.
And it's a testament to how comfortable people have gotten with Ana over time, where they are able to come out with those level of hero plays on the character, because yes, her healing per second is incredible, but you push her against the wall, if you can land your shots, she's very threatening as a DPS threat at times as well.
I do have to say, though, throughout this tournament, I think Jehong has given too much space, and we really saw United States was the only team who really put pressure on Jehong here. Like, I realize you can't go Winston, Genji, and Tracer and just focus on him, but I think you should at least have something. You should have a Winston. I think Tviq can't really do anything as Genji alone versus Jehong. I think they should have switched up a Winston here, but they were kind of forced to play Reinhardt because iddqd was stuck on the McCree.
Tomorrow, I bet you will see Shadowburn put a lot of pressure on him. I don't think that will be any problem. I mean, what we've seen him do.
I hope we see a Winston accompany him.
All right, guys. Well, we have down on the floor for a little bit more insight into the South Korea victory. We've got Jason with Miro.
It's the man, it's the myth, it's the legend, the Winston God Miro here. Yes, thank you very much, Rachel, and Richard to help translate. So let's start off talking about the match coming into this. You were playing against Sweden. How did you guys prepare for this match?
이제 이번 스웨덴 경기에 대해서 어떤 식으로 준비를 하셨는지 소감 부탁드립니다.
스웨덴에 아무래도 겐지를 잘 쓰는 유저가 있기 때문에 그 TVQ 선수가 그래가지고 제가 윈스턴으로 잘 마크를 하면은 쉽게 이기지 않을까라는 생각에서 오늘 경기를 임했어요. 근데 생각보다 Tviq 선수가 겐지를 안 하더라고요. 그래가지고 약간 좀 말린 게 있었는데 라인하르트가 그래도 잘 돼가지고 이긴 것 같습니다.
All right, so what he noticed about the Sweden team is that they're really good with the Genji, which is a TVIQ player. So he tried to prepare the Winston as a counter pick, and he tried his best, but he was kind of a little surprised because he didn't see Genji as much, and he think he won because the Reinhardt on his team did really well.
Okay, thank you. And also, you guys played against Rogue at the Overwatch APAC premiere. Did this help prepare you for Tviq?
이번 예선전에서 이미 한번 이 팀을 만났었는데 이 경기에 어떤 식으로 도움이 됐었나요?
아 예선전에서 이 팀 티빅 만나서 팀이요?
You said you met these guys at the premiere, right?
Right.
네.
아무래도 그때 상대 티빅 선수라든가 iddqd 선수들이라든가 플레이 성향을 잘 알았기 때문에 윈선으로 좀 더 활약을 할 수 있지 않았을까.
So when he met them at the preliminary, he did notice some kind of pattern of the iddq player. So he was able to kind of prepare his Winston counterpart to his way.
Okay, and what makes your Winston so good? Because we see you time and time again, you don't die. You never seem to die. You always seem to have an escape. So what is it about Winston that you do really well?
그래서 미로 선수가 하는 윈스턴이 항상 다이브를 하지 않으면서도 되게 활약을 잘하는데 어떻게 하면 그런 식으로 윈스턴을 운영이 가능한지.
아무래도 윈선 혼자만의 힘이라기보다는 팀원들과의 콜을 굉장히 잘해야 하는 것 같아요. 그 힐 콜이라든지 방벽 콜이라든지 자신을 서포트해 줄 수 있는 그런 스킬들을 굉장히 팀원과 연계를 잘 말을 맞춰야 윈선이 더 세지는 것 같아요.
So he said, Winston is not all about himself. It's all about the team and the coordination. Who makes the shield calls? Who makes the heal calls? So it's really not just one-man effort. It's all about his teamwork. Yeah.
Okay, and we talked to you guys earlier in the week, last week. You guys haven't really played together as a team, but TaiRong said once you finally did, you felt really well synergized. Can you explain why so?
그래서 지난주에 태롱 선수가 말했듯이 같이 연습을 많이 하지 못했는데 지금 와서는 이제 완벽한 팀으로 잘 활약을 하는데 어떻게 하면은 그렇게 연습을 같이 해가지고 팀원과 손발이 맞는지.
아무래도 저는 처음에 멤버가 딱 이렇게 모였을 때 이 멤버면 정말 최강이다라고 딱 느꼈을 정도로 일단 굉장한 선수들이 모였어요. 그 선수들이 자신의 플레이가 뭔지 알고 자기 할 거를 각자 잘 해주니까 그게 이제 팀워크가 돼가지고 이렇게 강한 것 같습니다.
So when he first saw his team's roster, he said, "Wow, these guys are the best, the best players of the Overwatch that he knows so far." So and as he practiced with them, he noticed that they're really confident of what they're doing. So he himself got even more confident of his place.
Okay, and you mentioned you were playing Winston to counter Tviq on Genji. You're playing against Russia tomorrow against Shadowburn. Are you prepared? Anything special planned for them?
그래서 지금 이번 경기에서 겐지 카운터픽으로 윈스턴을 운영하셨다고 했는데 다음 경기에서는 이제 러시아 팀의 섀도우번 겐지가 있는데 이제 준비가 되셨는지.
제가 한국에 학살이라는 선수가 있는데 제가 그 선수 겐지한테 많이 좀 단련이 돼가지고 충분히 상대할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
So in Korea, there's this Genji player called Hak Sang-hee, and he said he is very used to good Genji, so he feels very confident of any Genji.
Okay, that's awesome to hear. Shadowburn should be worried. Last chance, though, I want to give you an opportunity to give some shout-outs to some friends, some family members, the fans out there.
이제 마지막으로 하고 싶은 말 시청자 팬들이나 가족분들한테.
이 자리에 올 수 있도록 지속적으로 도움을 주시고 첫 스노우볼을 굴려주신 보겸형님께 정말 감사의 말씀 올립니다. 감사합니다.
마지막 성함이 어떻게 되나요? 보겸이요? So I thank 보겸 who helped us to come this far and supported all his ways. Yeah, and thank you to
Okay,
보겸.
thank you very much, Miro. Good luck tomorrow on your match. And thank you, Richard, for helping us translate. Let's head back to Rachel now to close out the day.
Thank you so much, Jason. 감사합니다, Miro, and congratulations to South Korea. An amazing performance is going to put them straight into that gold-silver match tomorrow. Of course, we haven't seen the end of Sweden and Finland either. They are going to be playing in the bronze match.
I feel like that's going to be a good one because I know when we spoke to Finland coming into this event, they wanted to beat Sweden bad. They imagined it was probably for either the gold or the silver, but it'll be for bronze. And I think neither of those teams wants to go home without a medal, so I think that'll be a big grudge match.
Absolutely, and that was also the case where when the Overwatch World Cup was first announced, we thought it would be Sweden, Finland in the finals. They will still get their final showdown, but it's going to be for third place as opposed to first.
We were so innocent back then. Well,
you didn't know. I've been there.
That's when Jonathan had a chance to make the team. That's how long ago
I've seen things, okay?
I should have known when Reinforce defected to South Korea.
I knew. I've seen some, yeah.
Well, guys, all day long, we've been voting for the T-Mobile MVPs of the match. We have our MVP for this final match. Our T-Mobile MVP is Arhan, and I think he had to earn it with that Bastion play. He's had a lot of great performances, but that warms the heart.
And I think deservingly so. It's going to be interesting seeing his Genji versus Shadowburns tomorrow.
Absolutely, and the thing about Arhan too is that it's not so much he's this crazy explosive Genji, though he certainly has his moments. His coordination with the rest of his team is sublime, where I remember there was a moment in Eichenwald where he went down sort of near the pit, waited for his team, and got in there at the exact same moment the rest of his team went in. Just a highly coordinated Genji that makes the most of what his team gives him.
I just find it super ironic that Sweden tried to shut him down and he gets MVP. He basically handled Sweden by himself and just, okay, I'm taking care of this, MVP.
Hey, the fans have spoken, and the fans can speak again tomorrow using the hashtag #TeamMobileMVP. Don't forget, in the finals match, whoever you vote for MVP is actually going to get a trophy and a presentation, so it's going to be very important tomorrow. I'm glad you got all your practice in today on that.
I think tomorrow's final, I'm going to just make a prediction. I got South Korean 6. It's best 7. Jonathan just looked at me.
They're going to play extra matches.
Wait, that's not math. What?
6 games.
Are we going to make a new Tesla car? What is this?
What do you mean? They're going to win 4 games. Russia's going to win 2. You understand how a best of 7 works?
Now I do. Now I understand.
I'm just like, okay, does everyone understand math?
You gotta be Lucius for a minute. Break that down for me.
I got most.
Jonathan just looks lost all the time. I'm just like staring at him. He's like, wait a second. He's like, that's not possible. I get it.
South Korea's going to lose a game?
No, 2. I have
not 1, but 2.
I'm losing 2.
You're going to lose 2 games? No.
Yeah.
Hey, there's only one way to find out, guys, and that's to tune in tomorrow. We begin at 10 a.m. PDT. That's Pacific time, so you have no excuses. We will see you there bright and early. But for today, thank you for joining us. This has been your analysis desk, and we are going to pass you down to Golden Boy to wrap up the show.
Thank you so much, Rachel. That's right. Today has been an incredible day of Overwatch competition. You know, we had a great crowd, a great audience. Bilzzcon has been amazing so far. But of course, it all comes down to this. There's going to be our bronze medal match tomorrow between Sweden and Finland. Who comes out on top there? Of course, you're not going to want to miss that one. But then you have the dominant force of South Korea versus the unlikely heroes of Russia. Who will come out on top? Who will be your gold medal winner here at Bilzzcon? It's been an incredible day. Thank you so much for joining us for the Overwatch World Cup. We'll see you guys tomorrow.